Welcome back to Farage with me, Martin Daubney. Now, as we watch the reaction, the war in the Middle East play out on our streets, it's worth remembering that for years now we have seen the unholy alliance of the woke and the Islamist sectarians invading our streets, and here's a reminder. Over the weekend, we saw something rather refreshing. British Iranians, British Jews and the British public generally celebrating what could be the death knell of an apocalyptic Islamic death cult. But there were, of course, some people who simply didn't get the memo. Yes, that individual there is the Green Party deputy leader, and that is Mohsin Ali, seemingly unbothered by the Islamist regime flags being brandished around him. Now, he does, of course, have form in proving himself to be a sectarian.
We will not be silent. We will raise the voice of Gaza. We will raise the voice of Palestine. Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
That's your caring, sharing, tree-hugging Green Party. Now, three things in life are certain: death, taxes and the unholy alliance of the woke and the Islamists. Perhaps it's the LGBTQ plus Hamas brigade, never learning that their match made in hell is doomed to fail. Now, the Labour Party promised to prescribe the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps before winning the general election, which will enable the government to crack down on pro-regime behaviour. So why on earth haven't they got their backsides in gear? Well, I'm joined in the studio now by the Reform MP and the former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman. Suella Braverman, welcome to Westminster. I saw you in chamber earlier listening to Keir Starmer deliver his speech, and once again he seemed to believe that negotiated settlements, international law must prevail. Why on earth would an Ayatollah listen to international law?
Quite, exactly. And listen, there's a lot of idealism, and these are really serious decisions when a government decides to take lethal force or military action. As Attorney General, you are sat around that table advising a Prime Minister, Secretary of State for Defence, Foreign Secretary, liaising with the Americans. It is not a decision to be taken lightly. Lives can be lost. However, I really strongly disagree with Keir Starmer's whole platform here. He says it wasn't lawful for the United Kingdom to join the US and Israel in their initial strikes. That doesn't stand up to scrutiny. And I can say this as a former Attorney General. There's a very strong legal basis, whatever way you look at it, for the UK to have supported our allies originally in their strikes on the Iranian regime. Just as our allies, the Canadians and the Australians, found that it would have been lawful to do so. They supported the US action. It seems that the UK has taken an extremely cautious and, I'm afraid, weak and humiliating position.
It was telling, I thought, today that Lord Hermer was in the public gallery looking down. Perhaps he was pulling the strings. Who is the puppet? Who is the puppet master? Sometimes people do believe that our parliament has been taken over by human rights lawyers, taken out by those who think negotiated settlements, international law should come first. But this could cost us dearly. I mean, Donald Trump today saying he's very disappointed in the United Kingdom. Do you think this could cost Britain the Chagos Islands?
Well, I think it's fatal for the special relationship, absolutely. And, you know, at times of peril, really, you are forced to choose. Are you going to take the courageous stance and be on the right side of history, or are you going to balk and shirk your responsibility? Keir Starmer has chosen the latter, unfortunately. You know, there's a clear lawful basis for the UK to have joined in the original military action, that being collective or individual self-defence. Collective self-defence supporting our ally Israel, which has been on the receiving end of constant military attack by the Iranians, whether it's in the form of proxies like Hezbollah or Hamas. When I was in Israel just 2 years ago, I saw the rockets raining down over Israel, which were rockets funded by the Iranians. Israel is acting in self-defence, or it could be our own self-defence, actually, because as the DG of MI5 has made clear in public, there have been 20 late-stage terror attacks, which have been Iranian-backed, which have thankfully been thwarted by our intelligence and security services. So we are facing a threat on UK soil. There are very clear legal basis for action.
I want to talk about that now. We saw there Mohsin Ali from the Green Party attending, we believe, a remembrance service for the Ayatollah Khomeini. Now, on X, the deputy leader of the party, Mohsin Ali, has said, "I'm proudly anti-war, and to be anti-war, that means looking to explore all possible diplomatic solutions." The US and Israel took a unilateral decision in the midst of negotiations to kill the Iranian leader and opted for war. This is deplorable. So Suella Braverman, the deputy leader of the Green Party, would say that they're against war. But are you concerned that there seems to be a creeping support on British soil for these brutal Islamic regimes?
I'm against war. No one wants the loss of life and the tragedy that war entails. However, we cannot respond to brutality, terrorism, invasion and attack with weakness. Winston Churchill would not have beaten the Nazis through the approach that Mohsin Ali is suggesting. Unfortunately, negotiation doesn't always work, and when it fails, military action is essential to defend yourself and to defend your allies. It's regrettable that diplomacy fails, but diplomacy has been attempted for over 10 years with the Iranians, but they've still acted in breach of international agreements. For example, they're building a nuclear bomb with over 60% of uranium enrichment. They have long-range missile capabilities, totally in breach of international negotiation and diplomacy. So they have broken and ridden roughshod over the rules of diplomacy. We're at last resort stage, and that's where military action is absolutely essential.
Pete Hegseth, I think, today was withering on the special relationship. He referred to Israel as capable partners, good partners, unlike so many of our traditional allies, he clearly meant us, who wring their hands and clutch their pearls, hemming and hawing about the use of force, afraid of breaking the law. They would rather fight politically correct wars. The special relationship seems to be on life support. Is there any way back?
Well, I said last year that the special relationship is dead, and Starmer killed it. And this episode that we're witnessing this weekend looks like an obituary to the special relationship. Ever since Chagos, ever since the real weakness that Starmer has displayed on the international stage, and his real hesitancy towards the foreign policy agenda set by America, really we have been reduced to an irrelevance. And that is a crying shame. You know, the UK should be standing shoulder to shoulder with Israel, with the US, with Australia, with Canada, our allies. Instead, we are wringing our hands, we are prevaricating, we look hesitant, but importantly, we look weak.
Suella Braverman, thank you for joining us. It's humbling and withering to hear that. Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg, of course, State of the Nation, is up next. Sir Jacob, you join me now. No doubt you'll be covering this topic on your show this evening, but I feel profoundly upset, actually, and depressed now that we're being referred to as a spent force by America. It's deeply depressing.
Well, Keir Starmer's made us completely irrelevant. He's wrong both ways round. That he should have decided that our bases could be used. That's what allies do. But having decided that they shouldn't be used, he shouldn't then have changed his mind. Either he believes this war is illegal and shouldn't happen, or it's legal, in which case he should have made the bases available. And he has discredited himself, first of all, with the Americans and then with his own supporters. It's disastrous for him. To govern is to choose, and Keir Starmer will not choose. He will just be told what to do by the Attorney General, who is an extremist international lawyer who doesn't want to put the national interest first. He wants to put some obscure interpretation of international law first. And you're right, this is indeed what I will be discussing. Bill Cash is coming on, a former Shadow Attorney General who understands the legal position very well. And we can discuss further the question of the special relationship. This may not work. Removing leaders hasn't worked in the past, but you've got to decide whose side you're on.